Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first. We will face challenges. We will confront hardships, but we will get the job done.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Donald Trump is sworn into office among a crowd of hundreds of thousands of people. He is now the 45th president of the United States. His inauguration was followed by a 90-minute parade on Pennsylvania Avenue. Blocks away, however, it looked like anything but a celebration. Protesters looted buildings and set a car on fire. More than 200 people were arrested. Tonight, the celebration, however, does continue. This is a live look at the Freedom Inaugural Ball, which is happening right now. This is just one of 3 inaugural balls being held tonight. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump just finished their first dance together as the new first family. Good evening, everyone. While the celebrations continue, President Trump is already getting to work. He signed his first executive order tonight regarding the Affordable Care Act. President Trump also put a freeze on any new regulations and stopped those started by former President Barack Obama's administration. Don Champion has more.
The inaugural balls are underway in Washington, D.C. Donald and Melania Trump will attend all 3 for the first time as America's first couple.
To be a part of a night like tonight is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
The inaugural galas capped a whirlwind day for the new president and his family, a day filled with tradition.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Mr. Trump took the oath of office just before noon, then delivered a 16-minute inaugural address that rebuked Washington's political class.
January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again.
He also promised better days ahead for all Americans.
This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
During the inaugural parade, the president and first lady stepped out of their armored limo several times to walk along the route. Just beyond the secure area, hundreds of demonstrators were arrested.
I, James Norman Mattis.
Later, as promised, the Trump team got right to work. Vice President Mike Pence swore in 2 cabinet members. And while in the Oval Office, President Trump signed an executive order. The White House says it was to ease the economic burden of Obamacare, something Mr. Trump promises to repeal and replace. Don Champion, CBS News, Washington.
This has never been about us. It has always been about you.
Alongside former First Lady Michelle Obama, former President Barack Obama delivered final remarks at Joint Base Andrews after the ceremony. He thanked Americans for his 8 years in office. The Obamas are now headed to Palm Springs, California. Earlier, protesters smashed windows and set fires, clashing with police. Former senior advisor to Donald Trump and Western New Yorker Michael Caputo says when he left the inauguration, a group of 20-somethings approached him. One man actually hit Caputo, knocking out his tooth and injuring his jaw.
Come to find out, I'm not the only one that this happened to. There was at least 1 or 2 of these incidents at every exit of the inauguration. You know, it's not going to stop today. It's not going to stop this week. It's probably going to continue on for a while. Because, I mean, in my opinion, these aren't partisans. These are hooligans. You know, I mean, I think the average Hillary Clinton voter wants nothing to do with something like this.
Protesters here in Buffalo echoed that opinion, condemning the violence in our nation's capital. News 4's Rachel Monjovi was at the demonstration downtown here and joins us with the details. Rachel?
Callan, the protest here in Buffalo was peaceful, but a lot of them, just like many others across the country, have the same concerns, and they're all protesting for similar reasons.
No hate, no KKK, no racist USA.
About 100 protesters took to the streets of Buffalo Friday night, protesting our newly sworn-in president, Donald Trump.
What was your initial reaction when you saw President Trump get sworn in today? Well, I feel sick about it, frankly.
I was very saddened and also very scared.
At the same time this was happening, a more violent protest was taking place at our nation's capital. Protesters here condemned the rioting.
Those guys not with the protesters.
That's not necessary. That doesn't do any good for the cause.
The Buffalo Anti-Racism Coalition organized this protest hoping for change, but doubtful it will happen.
I don't want our government, I don't want our country to fail. I think he's running under a platform that will fail.
And they have just as many doubts about the president's administration.
Trump and his administration need to be stopped.
His cabinet is totally against LGBTQ rights. It's against black rights. It's against Latinos.
Anti-Trump supporters say they want peace and unity and their rights intact.
That we stop looking at a person's appearance, stop looking at, who they might love, how they might identify, and look at who they are as a person.
We've got to stand together, and we can't let our government, we can't let our rights, our health care taken away.
In D.C., there were more than 200 arrests, and those protesters were charged with rioting. In Buffalo, there were 0 arrests tonight for the protest. In the studio, Rachel Monjovi, News 4 at 10.
Thank you, Rachel. Many Western New Yorkers traveled to Washington to support President Trump as he took the oath of office. News 4's Nalina Shapiro continues our team coverage and shows us which local Trump supporter she ran into today.
Good evening from our nation's capital. Well, out of the hundreds of thousands of people here today, we just happened to run into Buffalo School Board member Carl Palladino, who is embroiled in scandal right now for the comments he made about the now former president and former first lady. Many called those comments racist. The controversial Buffalo developer and Trump supporter was walking out of a packed section of the National Mall. He said he was going in the wrong direction. He didn't have time to chat with us, but I managed to get in a couple of questions before we headed over to the section where hundreds of thousands of Trump supporters stood. There were some protesters as well holding up signs, and we'll have reaction from local Republicans coming up on News 4 at 11 about the Trump supporters who were booing Democrats like the former president, former First Lady, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, and even Chuck Schumer. But back to Palladino for a moment. We quickly pulled him aside to ask him about this historic day and also the school board controversy.
This is the beginning of a new era for America. Don't be afraid of it, okay? It's going to be great. And we're going back to some of our values, okay, our basic values, and this is going to be a great presidency.
Are you still staying on the school board?
Absolutely, yep.
There's no chance you're leaving?
No chance, no.
Just recently, the school board passed a resolution to petition the state to remove Palladino, but as you just heard, he says he's not going anywhere. Now, the Buffalo developer was just one of many Western New Yorkers here in the nation's capital for the inauguration. And coming up tonight on News 4 at 11 on Channel 4, you will hear from 2 Republican representatives on why they thought people booing today was disrespectful. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Nalina Shapiro, News 4 at 10.
Thank you, Nalina. We have much more inaugural coverage on the way in just half an hour here on News 4 at 10. Hear what Western New Yorkers want to see done in the president's first 100 days. And over on News 4 at over on Channel 4 at 11, Nalina Shapiro does have that other report from the Capitol.